Okay, guys and gals and viewers of the tube. Today I'm with James and Bob, both of them YouTube Gold. And today we're going to talk about.
It's true. You are a very pretty man, Bob.
Anyway, we're going to talk about single engine versus twin engines because we get a lot of questions about that and people asking. I personally am a single engine guy. I loved it. I struggled with twin engines, but you, James, you learned on a twin engine.
I learned on twins, and so I'm a big believer. I love twin engines.
Yeah, right.
Like, I don't even with the bow thruster, I prefer just two twin engines.
Because when we took the Griffin over to Texas, that was your first single engine experience?
Yeah, my first inboard single for sure, which they drive very differently. You know, the outboard's totally different world. You can directed thrust.
But you didn't have any problem with the Griffin, even when we were docking or anything?
No, she handled pretty easily, but again, pretty small, pretty light, and had a bow thruster. So to me, that seems like the easiest baby step version of a single.
Yeah, and Bob, you've got this one. Virginia Hawkeye is a single screw, no bow thruster. You've been driving her for 10 years now.
Oh, yeah.
You've taken her down to the Keys. You've taken her all the way up to Green Turtle Bay. Correct.
All the way up to Joe Wheeler State Park.
Yeah, in both directions.
Both directions.
So you've been all over the river, and so it's lots of dockings with a single screw. And I wanted you to give us some the viewers here some perspective of what things that they can do to help, because I know you have some tips for us on the single screw.
I do, and again, it's been a pleasure operating this boat. Like James, I've operated the twin engines and the bow thrusters, and I consider them to be easy compared to this. And this, all of them are the same when you get them out in the water.
When you guys are talking open water.
When you're open water,
underway with like steerage, basically a boat's a boat.
This boat operates just like any other boat.
Yeah, correct.
But, like me, I have a Simrad autopilot. I don't know if the viewers can see it, but
yeah, let me get the camera up here so show them.
This is Simrad autopilot over here, and it's designed to give me rudder control when I'm not operating the actual autopilot. And so what it does,
it's like a power steer where you can just use it.
It gives me.
Okay, Bob. So thanks for that tip on the rudder controller. So you're saying on a single screw here, the rudder controller helps, and then the prop wash. Now you have that prop wash. Explain that real quick again.
Well, it's when you have a single screw boat, and depending upon the rotation of the shaft, mine's counterclockwise, and what that does is when you put it in reverse, you automatically get a starboard turn. Okay, you get a starboard turn. So, based on the conditions that you're in, I've operated both twin screws, bow thrusters. I find that the single screw is a lot more difficult, especially when you're docking, going in and out of your marina.
With any kind of crosswind or
any kind of crosswind, that's one of the things that has gotten me in trouble more than once, is that I've gotten into a marina environment where I've got a very active, very serious incoming tide or outgoing tide. You can even have opposing winds when you're doing that, and the tide's going to control you, and it creates a challenging environment with a single screw.
Yeah, you got to be just like flying an airplane, right, James? You got to be ahead of it. You've got to be.
Yeah, you have to have a plan laid out and an expectation for what the boat's going to do before you do it.
Yes.
If you're reacting to the boat in that scenario, you're going to have a tough time fixing it.
Yeah, right. If you're waiting to actually respond to something, you've got to kind of get a plan. Bob has taught me, stay wide on my corners, come into the slip, and there is, once you create your plan, once you've driven it a couple times, it helps. I'm curious. You've had the Virginia Hawkeye for 10 years. Single screw or twin screw?
I'd go twin screw.
Okay.
If I had the option to own a boat with twin screws, I'd take twin screws. But I feel like this boat has made me a better captain.
Yeah, right.
Because I'm constantly challenged by conditions. There are days in this marina, as an example. We had a south wind that I was on the wall over here, and I couldn't get off.
Yeah,
it was impossible to get off the wall. You just have to wait till the conditions change.
Right.
And then, especially in a single screw boat, there are conditions where you can get in a position that it's not recoverable. Like
No.
you could literally just have to push off of something.
Well,
There's
that's
no way
exactly
to move the
what
boat
would
that
have to
way.
happen, and
Especially with no thruster. Nothing
Yeah, with
to
no
help it.
thruster and a single screw in certain scenarios, there's just no way to maneuver the boat against the wind.
yeah,
Right.
and so you learn those things. Sometimes you wait on conditions to change. I love the single screw. Don't get me wrong, because it's
So
so
much
fuel efficient.
Plus,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
so much easier to work on.
Yeah, I've got room all the
Maintenance
way
is way
around my
easier,
engine. This engine is just, it's a Singer sewing machine to
Yeah.
give you an advertisement. But it's a Singer sewing machine. It runs.
Well, I've
and
never had a
set-
Lehman run like this. What, James?
It is a really well maintained Lehman.
Yeah, it's super smooth.
I've never seen one that's like that completely. Everything is great, perfect, like it's new, except it's not. It's a pretty old engine.
Yeah, it's
11,000 hours.
Yeah.
So-
but it's smooth as I've never had one that smooth. It's just really like mine clack and rattle a little bit. But
And
this
the maintenance room is a big deal for a guy, especially a guy like me. I do all my own maintenance, and my boat is twice your size, but having twin engines, I have half the room in the engine room.
Yeah.
So doing maintenance on my engines can be a nightmare. It can be boat yoga, hanging over stuff.
Yeah, it
Whereas
is.
I can walk around. You're in your engine
Well,
room.
the new owner, the Virginia Hawkeye's been sold now, and the new owner, I took him down there the other day, and we changed the engine oil, and we changed injector pump oil, and we just kind of worked our way around the engine room, and there's plenty of room to work, and I like that. So,
Yeah.
but as far as the maneuvering of the boat, Paul, it's
It's-
really a great boat for operating. It's fuel efficient. I burn about 2.5 gallons an hour at 7.5 miles
which
an hour.
probably really affects money, one, but also your range. I bet you the range on this boat is going to be longer than an equivalent. So people don't realize that a diesel engine, most of the fuel it's burning is to run the engine, not actually to produce thrust. So when you're running twins, you're not getting twice as much thrust for the same amount of fuel.
No.
You're exponentially spending more fuel to get the same thrust.
Right, because both of my engines burn 2.5 gallons an hour. I'm at a 5-gallon burn, and I'm not getting the extra speed to make
Yeah,
the difference.
because
in that.
it's only
You're
like
not
a
going
third
any
of the
faster
engine
than I
is
am.
going to
No.
speed. Like, yeah.
No, I've noticed that the single screw boat will maintain this. That didn't matter of fact. I had twin screws leaving here in Loop Princess, and we were with a single screw boat, and that boat was faster than I could not keep up with that boat. Now, the Perkins are a little bit faster than the Lehmans, but
it's like this boat. The history of this boat. The owner, our uncle, never took this boat above 1,700. I operate this boat between 15 and 1,700.
Yeah, which is
my
about
sweet spot is about 1,600, and at 1,600, I'm just going to run and run and run and run.
And as long as your engines do come up to full temperature, there's nothing wrong with doing that. It's very fuel efficient. It's very easy on the engines.
And I do that. I'm the same. I'm about 1,700 RPMs is my sweet. That's where I like to. About 16 to 1,700. Or what do you run yours at?
Oh, usually 18.
You
Usually
do?
about 1,800.
Okay.
It gives me about 8 knots. And
Now it
pretty
depends. If
consistent.
it's a rough day and I want to move, I'm at 1,800.
Yeah.
But if I'm just my regular cruise speed is 1,700. That's exactly where I.
Well, and they say that this boat's good for 2,300. I think the Lehman is 23, maybe 25.
Yeah, general rule with diesels is 80% of the total power. So if you go to wide open throttle, wherever that is, 80% of that's your max cruise.
Okay.
You don't really want to run continually over that setting. But for fuel efficiency, if you go all the way down to about 50%, you're saving a lot of fuel.
Yeah.
So it's really
Well, and I carry
preference.
400 gallons on the Virginia Hawkeye. I've got an extensive range.
Oh yeah, you've got well over 1,000 miles. So
Oh
it's-
yeah, I think it's probably closer to 1,400.
yeah. And
Yeah,
so
which with my twins and 500 gallons, I couldn't make that range.
No,
And
no,
even,
we can't.
even with 20% more fuel, I wouldn't. You'd lose me at about 1,100 miles. I'd be out of gas.
So technically, a single is faster than a twin.
yeah, faster and better range. But it does come with the downsides if you only have one engine, and mechanically, if an engine has a problem, you've only got the one.
Well, I've got that go home.
you do have the
system.
get home system.
Yeah, and me and James are gonna fire that thing up on this thing one day, and we
I
are gonna.
wanna see it work.
We told Rich we're gonna send Bob a little video showing him that the damn thing works, but we want to get that little thing fired up.
It's pretty cool. It's a hydraulic pump system plumbed into the
Generator.
the generator, the power takeoff, and then it's a belt system that connects the drive shaft off the pump to the actual shaft of the prop.
So
So
you
it's-
do have a twin engine, Bob.
do technically have a twin
If you
engine.
want to stop and look at it, it's a twin engine.
But I mean, I also got an outboard somewhere. That doesn't make it a twin engine boat.
Actually, I got 3 engines. I got my dinghy
And
motor.
triples.
But-
Anyway, you wouldn't change anything. You kind of not inherited, but you got the Virginia Hawkeye through the family, so it had a single engine.
And the only reason I'm saying that if I had a preference, it'd be twins, because I do like the way a twin handles.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more maneuverable when you're getting
In the
tight
right
quarter.
hands, I want to specify that, because if you don't know how to drive a twin engine boat, a single engine is much easier.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, and as you've learned by flying, I'm looking at a helicopter.
That's our
That's James's helicopter.
But if you have a boat like this, and again, the wide turns coming into your slip, if you're backing in, it's a tight turn coming into your slip, but it gives me, there's 2 words that my uncle taught me: slow and stop. Those are the 2 things you need to understand, because you whatever speed you're going, that's the speed you're going to hit something.
Right.
Yeah, that's actually my first and favorite piece of docking advice is never go faster than you're willing to hit the dock.
Yeah.
And if you just always stay at a speed that you could hit the dock and be fine, then you can't screw up.
Yeah,
No.
and it gives me, again, you talked earlier about planning, and I've gotten out of where my controls over here, they're just impulsive. I mean, I know where I know where neutral's at. I know what speed I'm at. I know which throttle to or transmission to grab.
Yeah.
So through
And
practice,
so-
you know how far to put the throttle forward to get the kind of RPM and thrust you
And-
want
and-
without looking, which means now
and-
you're able to think about the boat instead of the controls.
And I do, and so I can bring this in if I need to back it up, 2 or 3 times to get the right angle coming into the marina or coming into the actual slip. I can do that, but it's taken me a while to get to where I'm just responsive to.
Yeah, right.
I feel the boat.
Right. Yeah, you're comfortable with
Yeah,
the
it
single
sounds like too zen-y hippie, but actually that's real. Like when I used to teach pilots, when you learn to feel what the aircraft's doing, you don't have to look at it. It becomes like just an understanding. I can feel it shifting
And that's-
instead of looking around and
That's where I struggle with teaching some people how to drive boats. Is I have a feel for what I need, and I don't have that same feeling when they're at the helm. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I can't feel what's going on.
It's
for them.
weird because when you're not touching the controls, it feels like you can't feel the boat as much. Even
Right.
though obviously you're on the same
Yeah,
boat,
right.
it shouldn't be that way. But
Right.
And I've had people. Well, like in your case, you've operated my boat. I've got a real strong feeling that you're going to be operating it again.
real soon, huh?
Yeah, real soon. He's going to need a little help learning how to handle the boat.
Yeah.
And but I found that Rich is just a genuine guy.
Yeah.
He loves the boat, which means a lot to me.
Yeah.
Because after 10 years, I'm really going to regret being off the boat.
Yeah, right. And again, because you the single screw here, and you don't regret the single screw at all.
Not at all, not at all. I learned on it with this particular boat. I've operated boats my entire life,
And right.
and a lot of them were outboards, a lot of them were inboards. You take a ski nautique with an inboard, and you try to back it up, try to turn it. And it's rudder driven.
Yeah, right. Same
And,
thing as this almost.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's almost exactly the same, but. And that's a small boat. That's a 20-foot boat.
Yeah, right.
But on any inboard, you're going to have prop walk because you don't have directed thrust. So when the prop turns, it pulls the back of the boat
Right.
to the direction of the prop.
And this one's going to go starboard every time. I can make minor adjustments to it, but it's going to go starboard.
Right. Anyway, I just wanted to share that with you guys and share Bob's experience with the single screw. Anyway, we live life with no regret. I think Bob does. I think James does. And I do. So make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Peace out. Thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate it, Bob. And
Thank you very much.
all right, guys. Thanks, James.